Since 2013, I've recruited over 3,000 insurance agents to my agency at DeFord Insurance Group, and one thing I've discovered is a lot of agents don't close effectively. They don't understand the psychology of closing. They don't understand the language patterns they need to follow through with to convince the client to be committed, and they get weebly and wobbly at the close when there's any kind of pushback. I say all this because the purpose of today's video is to give you the biggest mistakes that insurance agents make when they try to close their insurance presentations. And my goal for you today is to hopefully take some golden nuggets from my perspective as an agency owner since 2013 on what steps you can take to ensure your close is mastered and getting you results, and you're not dropping the ball at the last moment. That really means the difference between success and failure in closing the deal. Number one, weak closing language. Probably the biggest mistake that I see new agents do is they don't have the conviction and confidence in their language to close the deal. What they say many times in the closing are language that lets the prospect off from the commitment to make the sale. For example, a lot of the times agents at the close will say things like, if you decide to take a policy out today, if you think this is right for you, do you want to buy today? These are some phrases that a lot of agents use that make the commitment something that's optional. This is not good to do because the client at the end of the sales presentation also is experiencing anxiety. They're going through a sense in their mind of, do they really want to do this or not? And if you give them a language pattern that allows for them to not commit, some of those prospects will take it. So what should you do instead? Very simple. Use language that sells past the sale, that assumes the sale already, that gets the client comfortable with the idea of actually owning it. So instead of saying conditional phrases like, if you get this plan today, I say and sell past the sale, saying things like, when you get this policy, you're going to feel great. Or instead of asking permission to buy, like, do you want to buy one of these plans? I just assume, so which one of these 3 plans do you want to start today? Having this kind of shift in how you speak and express yourself at the close with more conviction and confidence and assumption is going to lead that client that much more closer to buying from you than using these conditional phrases that end up frustrating them and get them out of the way and not buying the product and get you in a point to where you're not making sales. Number 2, not making recommendations. Piggybacking on what we talked about earlier with the client's resistance and anxiety at the end of the sale, you need to express and give them confidence that making a decision to commit with you is the best decision. And what better way to do it than to make recommendations now, not as a salesperson, but as an advisor. You see, throughout this entire sales presentation you've been through, you have evolved from an unwelcomed pest to a welcome guest. Your prospect believes and likes you. They appreciate your guidance and your thought process, and they really want you to help them make the right decision. So you need to insert ways in which you can make it clear what your recommendation is based on their particular circumstance. So for example, in final expense life insurance sales, I'll make a recommendation of a particular carrier and then explain why I'm making that recommendation. Many times I'll tie it to their health conditions, or I'll tie it to the competitiveness of the company. Either way, I'm giving them logically sound reasons why this particular company is being recommended to them, so they'll feel better about making that decision. Likewise, at the end of the close, when we offer different options, we use a 3 option close. I will tell them which of those 3 options I would select for them based on their experience. Maybe somebody wants to just have a simple cremation, and I'm showing them a 10, 15, and 20,000. Maybe I'll just recommend either the 10 or the 15,000 because it's plenty to do the job and leave some over. So those recommendations aren't based off of the biggest plan available. The picking arbitrarily of the most expensive plan is the quickest way to get chargebacks and all sorts of frustration in this business. But when you pick the plan that you feel is best for them and make that recommendation based off of sound logic, that spurs confidence in the client to then commit to you to help you get the sale done. Number 3, complicating the close. So the close should be simple. It should be a greased groove that the client slides right into and makes the buying process simple. One of the misconceptions I think today is that consumers want options and choices. That's farthest from the truth. The whole concept of the Starbucks analogy of having 100 million different ways to do your drinks is not a good principle to follow in insurance sales. If anything, you should take the complication out of the matter of different choices and lower it down to just a few. What we do at DeFord Insurance Group in the final expense space is simply offer 3 different choices: a good, better, and best option. This is the classical way to close. It works wonderfully well in a life insurance sales environment. And if you even wanted to, you could cut that down to 2 options, a good and a best option. Again, the less options the client has, and many times that's going to make it easier for them to buy. So don't try to show 4, 5, 10 different prices, 10 different products. Figure out which product best suits them, explain to them why you're making that recommendation, and then at the close, when you show the different options, just show them 2 or 3, and then ask them which one do they want to start with today. Number 4, folding too quickly to objections. Even good agents who do the script perfectly are going to experience objections. You're going to hear things like, well, I need to think about it. I need to pray about it. I need to talk to my kid or my accountant about it. And your job, your ability to have success in this business is predicated on handling those objections and still getting the deal done. So understand, a lot of the times you hear those objections, they're just smoke screens or people who just are scared of commitment. And you need to revisit their reason why they want to have insurance in the first place, to reinvigorate their conviction, and then ask them again to go ahead and purchase the plan, or ask them which one it is that they want to start with. So for example, in the final expense world, if I hear somebody say, well, I like what I see, but let me think about it, my process in handling it sounds something like this. Oh, I could understand why you need to think about it, but for you, when you say that, how do you mean? The client then explains a little bit more reason. Maybe the price is too high. They're a little concerned about paying too much, let's say, for this example. Then I go ahead and isolate the objection and I say something like, okay, so besides the price, is there any other reason you wouldn't move forward today? And usually they say no, because it's usually one thing that they're hung up with. And then I offer a conditional statement to close them, which says simply, so if we can fix the price and make it more affordable, then what you're telling me is you're ready to move forward. Is that correct? So now they usually say, yeah. And then at that point, all I have to do is simply, in this case, lower the price, show a different set of options, sell them on why maybe less coverage is okay. You can always buy more later. It's better to start with something while you're healthy. God forbid if your health changed, you couldn't qualify for it. So let's lock this in today because something is always better than nothing. And then I close and say, well, which one of these lower prices do you want to start with? That is the way that I handle those objections, and that works wonderfully well, really, no matter what you hear. Now, obviously, how you handle the objection is based on what they say, but that process is what I want you to remember here. And make sure that you fight against those objections, okay? A lot of times you hear objections, people want to buy. They just want to feel better about their decision. So talk them through it. Get them to see the right side of the equation and ask for their commitment to buy. So those are the 4 most common insurance closing sales mistakes that I hear as an insurance agency owner and trainer. What are the mistakes that you run into that maybe you're finding difficulty dealing with? Whatever they are, throw them into the comment box. I'll be happy to address them below. If you're interested in learning more about joining DeFord Insurance Group, go to daviddeford.com/FAQ to learn more. Thanks so much for watching.